Guys, so let's just see if this is working. Yes, it is. So today we are going to go over a new C++ topic again, and this is called variables. So what are variables? So variables are essentially, um, well, they're they're basically places in memory to store data. However, I don't want you to think of it like that. There's even more rigorous terms that we can think of it as, but I want you guys to think of this in a very simple format. Think of a variable as a box. Let's open a new Windows journal. Think of a variable as a box containing a value, let's say x. So, yeah, this could be an integer, a character, a double value, and we'll go over what those are in a second. Um, it could be a lot of things. It could be a string. There's a special way to declare strings, and I'll explain that in a later video. But yeah, so think of a variable as a box with a value. Every variable has a data type, such as an integer, character, or double. You cannot have uh, a variable that holds two data types or three data types. You have to have only one data type: integer, character, double, wide character, etc. So let's just go over some of the data types. So here is a full list of data types that C++ has. In this course, we're only going to be concentrating on the main ones: character, char, integer, int, uh, and double. So what this basically is, these are the essential primitive types. Everything else, unsigned character, signed character, they're all modifications if you look at it carefully. Like an unsigned character has a typical numerical range, even though it's not a number, from 0 to 255 in the computer, whereas a signed character has a negative to positive range, negative 128 to 127. This is similar with the unsigned integer, which is a number, unsigned numbers are all positive, 0 to 4 to whatever. And then signed integers have negative and positive values. So, yeah, and shorts are essentially smaller, smaller integers. You see that a short integer takes 2 bytes, whereas the regular integer takes 4 bytes. And a long integer takes up 4 bytes. In Java, I know it takes up 8 bytes, so I don't know if that's wrong or something. But whatever, you get what I mean. That's Java, which is a totally different language. And a double takes up 8 bytes. And a double is essentially a double precision floating point variable. And we will get to what a floating point is in a second. So let's go over char, int, or integer, and double, or double precision floating point. So char is essentially any character. Could be 1, B, E, underscore, These are all characters. Now in this case, we're not talking about the number one. We're talking about the character one, which is essentially just like part of a string, if you think about it. An int is any negative or positive non-fractional value. This could be negative 455, 3, 566, or 5666, etc. So integers are essentially, they have non-fractional values. And double, meanwhile, is a variant of the floating point data type, FLOAT, and it's a floating point number, double precision floating point number, double precision floating point number, which essentially means it holds twice the space that a normal floating point number holds. And this, for example, could be 4.5, 3.1415. Remember, that's pi, one of my favorite numbers, and also one of my favorite foods. Yeah, negative 3.4455. These are all double precision floating point numbers. There are also booleans. I'll get to that later at a later date. But as of right now, these are the three variables I want you guys to consider. So let's just create a program that implements all these three variables. Go to CodeBlocks, open it up. Let me get my microscope thing on. What do they call it? My magnifier. Yeah. Magnifier. Here we go. There we go. So we go to File, New, Project, and we're going to make another console application, and we're going to create this, and we're going to call it data type. Just click Next, and we're going to choose C++. Do not choose C. Choose C++. Project title is going to be data types example, and yeah, just click Next. GNU GCC compiler, that's what I use, and if you use a different compiler, just make sure you have that. And yeah, so we have data types example open over here. Now what you want to do is you want to go to files, sources, main.cpp. So you go to projects, data types example, sources, main.cpp, and you'll see this pre-built file made by CodeBlocks. And this is what I really like about CodeBlocks. It comes with a template, a standard template, but you want to take majority of this thing out, except for the return 0. Keep the return 0 because we're going to need that. But unless you want to turn this into a void method, which we'll go over later. So how do I start this? Let's think. Declare a variable, int x equals 8. As you can see over here, we have int x equals 8. We can, oh wait, sorry, I'm thinking Java right now. That's the problem when you know so many programming languages. Let's just print out x right now. Print, wait, thinking Java again. And then let's think about something else. So we can add in text here. This is an integer. And let's just see what the output is if we build it right now. An integer. Interesting. That did not work. I'm a little fishy on my C++, it seems. Okay, let's take all this crap out right now. And let's just see what happens when we go and run now. We see we get an 8. We can type in before that, cout, this is an integer. Now we can build and run. And you see this is an integer, 8. Now I want to take a couple of lines. So I'm just going to add another end line over here just to make this look good. And then I want to declare a well, before that, let's do some addition or subtraction on here, some simple math. Cout x times 8. And we're going to expect, since in x equals 8, we're going to expect this to equal 64. So let's just see if that happens. There you go, 8, and then you get a 64 right here. So that worked according to plan. We're just going to call this cout this is the integer squared. Alright, so that's our simple program right there. Okay, so this is all running. Wait. Here's why I called it count. That makes no sense. So here's our simple program. This is an integer 8. And then we got this is an integer squared, 864. So you can do multiplication, division, subtraction, addition. And I suppose we'll go over the basic arithmetic and stuff later. Right now we just want to concentrate on what the variables are. So that's an integer. And then we have character. Char A equals A. We can actually declare multiple characters at once. So we have char A over here, but if I wanted, I could do char B, C, D, all at once. All of these at once. Don't forget the semicolon. And then you have to initiate a value for B, C, and D. So we have to put B equals, say, B. C equals, in all characters are in single quotes, by the way. All characters are in single quotes. C equals C in single quotes, and D equals D. So now what I can do is I can simply put cout. I gotta stop putting count. and I can put A plus B plus C plus D, and line, and let's just see what that does. Okay, this is interesting. It put the numerical format instead. So what happened over here, the mistake I made over here, is that computers, they think of characters in ASCII format. So what happened over here is that when I added all the characters together, each character has a numerical ASCII value, and I believe what happened was the computer shows the sum of the ASCII values. So yeah, let's just do them one at a time and see what happens. So let's say cout A. Wait, I forgot to exit out of this. Sending key to continue. Let's just try this one. And as you can see, it prints out A. I could do the same thing for all the other values. B. And as you can see, it prints out A, B, C, and D. So this is good. You might just want to put in a statement over here for our little program to distinguish that this is these are characters. We can put these are characters. And what I want to do right now is put a /n symbol there. And what this does is this is a new line character essentially. So the forward slash, or well, the backward /n allows there to be a new line. And ENDL also does the same thing, but I like the backward /n when you want to put multiple new lines. So here I got two new lines, one from an end line and then one from backward /n. Alright, so those are characters. Now we can do finally doubles. Double, we're going to call it no, 65 is not a correct variable name. I'll explain correct variable names in a second. Double, we're going to just put double C. Oh, okay, we already named a variable C. Let's try to be a little bit more, let's say double temperature equals 62.5. Gosh, that's actually pretty good. In Texas over here, we got like terrible weather. One day it's like 100 degrees, the next day it's like 32. Not really ever an in-between. So double temperature is 62.5, and then we just can print it and say cout. This is wait, let's just say the temperature is temperature. And what I was trying to do earlier, but failed to do so because I was thinking in Java, the temperature is temperature. This is how you put the print the temperature and add it along to the string, I believe. So let's, unless C++ has been, yes, exactly, the temperature is 62.5. We're not going to bother putting a degrees Fahrenheit because this is an example program, but yeah. So let's go over this. This is an integer, 8. This is an integer squared. That's some basic math. 8 times 8, 64. These are characters, A, B, C, and D. And these can also equal, characters can also be numbers, by the way, or underscore characters. They just are in single quotes and they don't do addition or subtraction. Do not add characters or subtract characters, by the way, because when you do that, I'll show you how to concatenate characters later. Like, that's what we call strings. But when we add character values, what happens is the computer has something called the American Standard Code for Information Interchange, and that actually adds it all up to a number, which is totally erroneous for our purposes. The temperature is 62.5, and that's a floating point value right there. So press any key to continue. Okay, so that was essentially our sample program. Later on, we'll talk about user input using something called CIN. But right now, I just want to, before we go, I just wanted to talk briefly about variable names. So variables must start with either a letter or underscore character. Variables cannot be reserved words in C++. So what a reserved word is, it could be if, it could be else, it could be while. You really don't want to call a variable while this, or you don't want to use plus in your variable name, because plus is an operator. You don't want to use C++ operators. And yeah, that should be it. So let's do some examples over here. Examples of good variable names. Well, these aren't necessarily good names, but these are acceptable names. I should put acceptable names. You want to make sure your variables are very descriptive, but in this case, I'm just going to show you acceptable variable names. Underscore hello world underscore. So this is an acceptable variable name, although I don't really recommend it because the underscore character has other purposes too, even though that's not a reserved word. An acceptable variable name is x or hello. An acceptable variable name could be true1. However, now let's go through some unacceptable variable names. You cannot put a number before a variable. Hello, one horror. You cannot use plus, minus, subtraction, division in h times. Yeah, you don't want to say that, but whatever, you get what I mean. You cannot use that in the real world either. J plus y, this is all unacceptable. And if I just take a look back at this reference for a second, if I remember correctly, Um, yeah, that's it. And thank you for watching this tutorial, and I hope you subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in the next one. In the next tutorial, we're going to be covering user input. Thank you.